Strength doesn't start in the body, it starts in the mind. Before a warrior draws his sword, he trains his thoughts. Before he faces any enemy, he conquers his inner dialogue. Because a weak mind turns pressure into panic, and a trained one turns pressure into power. The Stoics knew this. That the true battlefield isn't the world outside, it's your own thoughts, your impulses, your reactions. And that's where you either win or lose. Most men train their bodies, few train their minds. Fewer still do it with discipline. But the Stoic warrior, he lives by mental habits, not moods. He doesn't rely on motivation, he relies on order, on internal codes. And every habit is a weapon, a tool forged in discomfort, repetition, and silence. You don't just think differently, you become different. You don't react, you respond. You don't collapse, you calibrate. Because your mind has been conditioned to stand, even when the rest of you wants to run. And in this video, we break down 5 of the most powerful Stoic habits a man can build. These aren't hacks, they're not trends, they're timeless disciplines, forged by men who faced war, exile, loss, betrayal, and still kept their clarity. Because mental strength isn't something you're born with, it's trained, layer by layer, day by day, like a warrior sharpening steel quietly until it cuts through everything that tries to break him. The first Stoic habit of a mentally strong man is morning stillness. Before the world can speak to him, he listens to himself. No phone, no distractions, just silence. It's not about being productive, it's about being present. A warrior doesn't start his day in chaos, he starts with control. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, sitting, breathing, observing, not to feel good, but to remind himself, I lead the day, or the day leads me. In this stillness, he asks himself questions, not emotional ones, but tactical ones. What do I control today? What am I willing to tolerate? What is beneath me now? These questions reframe his mind like a soldier checking his gear. You don't go into battle unprepared. And life, every single day, is a battle for your attention, your discipline, your identity. Morning stillness sharpens all 3. This habit isn't glamorous. There's no applause. But day after day, it becomes the space where weakness gets exposed and replaced, where excuses show up and get dismissed. The man who starts his day in command of his thoughts is already ahead of the one who lets the world shape his first reaction. That's the edge. And it's built in silence. The second Stoic habit of a mentally strong man is voluntary discomfort. While most chase comfort first thing in the morning, soft beds, warm routines, easy wins, the Stoic steps straight into resistance. Cold showers, early wake-ups, physical training, not for aesthetics, not for vanity, but to remind himself that he doesn't need things to be easy to act. He acts because it's who he is, not because it feels good. Discomfort is where your mind gets trained to separate emotion from execution. You're tired, you move anyway. You're unmotivated, you still show up. That gap between what you feel and what you do, that's where strength is built. Voluntary discomfort isn't about punishment. It's about preparation. You're not waiting for adversity to harden you. You're hardening yourself before adversity ever arrives. And when it does, when life hits, you don't flinch. Because you've trained your system to stay calm under pressure. Your body obeys. Your breath stays steady. Your mind doesn't spin out. It locks in. And while the average man is shocked by hardship, you've already been here. Every cold morning, every hard rep, every small decision where you chose resistance over retreat. That's how you become unshakable, one chosen difficulty at a time. If your silence has ever been misunderstood, subscribe and hit the bell, not to explain yourself, but to remind yourself who you are. The third Stoic habit of mental strength is delayed reaction. In a world that rewards instant responses, the warrior waits. He pauses, not because he's unsure, but because he refuses to be controlled by emotion. When insulted, he doesn't lash out. When challenged, he doesn't flinch. When misunderstood, he doesn't scramble to defend himself. His power comes from restraint, the space between stimulus and response. That space is where dominance is forged. Most men speak too soon, move too fast, regret too late. But the Stoic? He watches. He lets the wave of emotion rise and pass. Because the first feeling is often the weakest one. Anger, ego, impulse. These are cheap energies. They burn hot and die quick. The warrior doesn't move on fire. He moves on command. He has trained his nervous system to listen to discipline over adrenaline. And in that pause, he gains what others lose: clarity. He doesn't need to win the moment. He's playing for longevity. His words are fewer, but heavier. His decisions are slower, but sharper. He understands that silence is often the strongest response. That doing nothing, when done with intention, is not passive. It's tactical. That's how you control a room without raising your voice. That's how you win a war without drawing your sword. The fourth Stoic habit for mental strength is mental rehearsal. Not wishful thinking, but strategic preparation. The warrior doesn't just hope things go well. He mentally walks himself through resistance, rejection, loss, pressure. Not to scare himself, but to strengthen his response. The Stoic visualizes not just the outcome he wants, but the pain he might face getting there. He doesn't avoid it. He meets it early, in his mind, so it never surprises him in reality. Most men are mentally fragile because they never train for difficulty. They hope for peace, but build no defenses. The Stoic does the opposite. He rehearses challenge. He imagines adversity, and instead of panicking, he rehearses calm. How he'll breathe, what he'll say, where he'll focus. It's not pessimism, it's preparation. When the hit comes, he's not scrambling. He's executing what he already practiced. This is the kind of mental discipline that separates strong men from reactive ones. You don't fear chaos when you've already seen it in your mind. You don't break when your strategy is grounded. The battlefield doesn't intimidate the one who trained in silence. And that's what mental rehearsal gives you. A mind that's been there before. That's how the warrior moves through storms. Not with luck, but with mental armor already strapped in place. The final Stoic habit for mental strength is daily detachment. Every day, the warrior lets go. Of what? Of what he can't control. Of what no longer serves him. Of what weighs his mind with unnecessary tension. This isn't giving up. It's sharpening focus. The Stoic knows that carrying everything weakens precision. So he doesn't hoard stress, replay conflict, or hold on to people who no longer belong in his path. He lets go, deliberately, so he can hold himself fully. This habit is how he stays clear when others get clouded. It's why his presence feels calm, not because his life is easy, but because he refuses to carry more than what's his. When thoughts get loud, he writes. When attachments get toxic, he distances. When pride rises, he humbles himself. This is not softness. This is tactical detachment. The kind that lets him see with clean eyes and respond with clean intent. And what's left after all the letting go? Power, focus, weight behind every step. He walks into each day without the burden of yesterday's noise. That's how he leads. That's how he trains his mind like a warrior, not by holding everything, but by carrying only what strengthens him. Nothing extra, nothing wasted, just discipline, silence, and control. So now ask yourself, if your mind was a battlefield, would your habits be sharpening your blade or dulling it? Dulling